Hello and welcome to InspiHER'd, your grown-up girl talk. I am Stacey Fleece with Samantha Tradelius. As always, Samantha, another day, another dollar, as
You
they
know what?
say.
That's what we do around here. We are definitely all about moving the needle in a lot of different ways. What have you been up to, Fleece?
Well, I had yesterday was one of those I hate people days.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna put it out there. People suck.
They do.
I got really disappointed by somebody who I did not think would disappoint me.
Mm.
And he turned out to be different than what I thought he was. So this is a professional relationship, right? And I just kept thinking, like, who was it that said, was it Maya Angelou that said, when people show you who they are, believe them?
Yes,
I
please.
had one of those moments with him. And then I kind of let it take over my day.
Mm.
Like my Tuesday went, because this is we're recording this on a Wednesday, in case anybody's wondering. But my Tuesday kind of went from, a cool average Tuesday to everything sucks over one person.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. Just to put this in your back pocket. Mercury is in retrograde. So
Oh, maybe that's the problem.
bad behavior is not exactly acceptable, but it is a little bit more explainable. I, on the other hand, did not have too many interactions with people yesterday, so that was probably a good thing.
Oh,
But you
maybe
know,
that's why you don't think people suck.
it's early in the week. It's early in the week. Sparkle's happening. We've got a lot going on around here. We've got an event coming up next week at Cavallo Point. So for those of our listeners that are local, we hope that you join us. And you and I are about ready to launch a big branding course, which I'm really excited about. So stay tuned, everybody, for some more cool stuff from the S&S duo.
Absolutely. I'm super excited about that.
Well, I'm as excited about our guest today because she is kind of like our local crack dealer, if we're being honest. Because when I see her bags of toffee out on the streets, 99.999% of the time I'm buying them. So, Kate, we are thrilled to have you today.
It's
Oh,
it's the bag with the bow that just immediately attracts your eye. And I don't know why it's taken us so many years to have this conversation. But we have Kate Carrier, who is the woman behind Kate's single batch toffee. And if you're in the Bay Area and you've had her product, or I've shipped it out to people, so even if you're not in the Bay Area and you've had your product, uh, you know how amazing it is. And it is basically toffee crack.
Coffee crack. That's basically what it is in a nutshell. Kate, how are you? You doing good
oh,
today?
I am so good. I'm so flattered already. And you're not the first person to refer to me as a crack dealer. So, I,
Good.
Well,
I do my
your
best.
story as an entrepreneur and as a small business, I don't even want to call you small anymore, but let's just go there. Small-ish business, cottage bakery, cottage.
There's a
Oh,
word.
what are
There's a
they calling
word.
it?
It's a con-
It's a cottage food permit, but
it is.
anyway,
Yeah.
it seems like to me that you've been doing this forever. It seems like Kate's Toffee has been out there forever, and it's just not the case because you did not take the normal path of somebody that you would think became an entrepreneur around a confection that is everybody's obsession. So I want to, go back and start like back in your time in corporate finance, which is not where I thought this started until we really got the full story. So, start us there and kind of where this all came to be from your childhood, and then, you know, how you ended up in corporate finance and how it took you out of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And to say this wasn't something that you would imagine my path to be, in order to tell you the Kate's Toffee story, I really have to start from the beginning because we call it the family curse. Our family, we always take the tradition to the kitchen is kind of our phrase. And to start to tell you about it is really, I have to go way back because my great grandparents, when they came to San Francisco from Croatia, they opened a bakery on Castro Street because that was the only trade they knew. And that's where my grandmother was born and raised. My mother was born and raised until she ventured out and had her own confection and catering business. And that's what I was born and raised in. But I am the family rebel. And I grew up doing it, right? I mean, at 8 years old, I was dusting truffles and cutting out chocolates and such. So when it was time for me to figure out what I wanted to do, I was like, I'm absolutely not going into food service. I will tell you that much. I'm absolutely not going to own my own business. I will tell you that much. I'm going to go get a real job. I'm going to get a W-2 job that has vacation, and an office that I can go to, because I grew up working out of my home with my mom doing candy.
So, spoiler alert, none of that you told yourself came to fruition. So,
Absolutely. I was in high school and I was like, I am definitely not doing this. That's for
yeah, for
sure.
sure, not going into that.
Yeah. So I went off to business school, and I graduated with a degree in finance. And I graduated on a Saturday and I went straight into banking on a Tuesday. And I did that for about 4.5, 5 years. And I climbed the ladder and I was having a great time. It was a really fun job to have out of college because I got to, have fancy suits, and I was working in that office and I had time off and I had a paycheck every 2 weeks. It wasn't all on my shoulders to make things happen, right? But just as much fun as I had, within, I want to say, a few years, I realized that I was in a position in management at that point that I had enough power to enforce things, but no power to change anything that I saw was not right. And this was back in 2008, 2009.
Well,
So,
and I think this is interesting because you actually said that you felt there was a mismatch between your values and the
mhm,
corporate environment that you were in, which I think is such a big part of really figuring out who we are and what our quote unquote brand is. So, can you expand on that just a little bit?
definitely. Well, I think, you know, there were certain things that, and I was at a big bank, and I can't say too much or drop too many names.
Fair, it's fair.
But I was at a big bank, and the practices that they were encouraging, were not right for what our customers needed. Um, and I had employees that I was basically having to relay this information and these sales practices that were not ethical in my viewpoint. You're messing with people's livelihood, you're messing with their money. And when you're doing something that's not setting them up for success, that just did not sit right with me. And it got to a point where I just was like, this is wrong. I can't do this
I have
anymore.
no idea what bank it is, but it does sound like today's Wells Fargo. I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, and it
Uh,
also was like the timing, 2008, 2009 was just like such a crazy time in the financial industry as well. So I can only imagine just like what was going on behind the curtain, at whatever bank it was.
At whatever bank, and you might be on the right path. It definitely, anything that you might have heard and stuff was pretty much very true. And it was getting to a point where I was having to fire people, in my branch for doing things that they were told to do in the regional sales call that morning.
Wow.
And it was just flat out wrong. And I was like, you know what? I don't know what I want to do, but I don't want to do this. And I think that was the most important lesson from my time there. And also listening to your gut, because I always say your gut is your best business partner. Like, if you don't listen to it, you're just going to waste your time, your money, and your energy. Like, it's not worth it. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right, and stick to that. And so I left, and when I was in school, I worked as, I did nanny, I did all sorts of stuff. And so I was like, you know what, at that point I was like completely burned out. I had 36 vacation days that I cashed out, because
Jesus.
yeah, we were never allowed to take vacation. And because I was a branch manager, so of multiple locations, so it was like I never got a chance to take time off. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take 6 months. I'm going to regroup myself. I'm going to see the sunshine for the first time in forever and kind of just like balance out what I need to do. And so I went and I went back. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna work as a nanny. I love doing that. It's gonna just kind of skate me by for the next few months. And within, I want to say, 2 or 3 months of doing that, I was like, you know what? this is what I want to do. And at that point, my husband, who's my college sweetheart, and we were starting to kind of plan for the next phase of our life and stuff. And as much as I love being a nanny, I knew that wasn't going to take me where we wanted to go, financially and stuff. So I decided to open a daycare, an in-home daycare. I was like, seems like a pretty good way to do it. We knew we wanted to have lots of kids. And so I was like, this might be the perfect.
Okay, but did you know you wanted to have lots of boys?
I did. I don't. That one was just.
Was that part of the conversation?
I had no idea. And it was like, they say they only get what you can handle, right? And so I didn't know I was so tough.
Apparently you can handle a lot. And for anyone who's listening, Kate has 4 boys.
4.
I do. And they're all 2 years apart.
Oh boy.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right, career number 2. We've moved into at-home childcare. Seems like an excellent plan.
Yeah, so I wasn't in the food business, so I was still kind of a rebel, but I was owning my own business, and it was the perfect thing for us to do. We were able to have 3 kids and then an extra 4th.
Bonus.
Yeah, a bonus baby. And then it was wonderful. I mean, I got to be home with my kids. I had an opportunity to make a living, to own my own business. Especially as a mom, I think it's really important to have your own identity too. And so it was the perfect mix of being there for my kids, having the honor and privilege of helping other families raise their kids, right? Being a big part of their families and what they relied on. I love that part. And so I did that for 15 years.
Wow.
And yeah, it was absolutely wonderful. It worked out. My kids had play dates every single day in our house. My mom worked with me, so I worked with my mom every day. And which was, you can't ever get that time back. That was awesome. She got to be a professional grandma, which, she was meant to do. So, but in 2020, a lot of everything was smooth sailing. We had a large family license, so I had 14 kids. I had 3 people here with me working. And then 2020 hit, and, like many people, our life was kind of turned upside down. So I did temporarily shut down the daycare, just because we didn't know what was going on at the time. My kids were 5, 3, and 10 months old. I only had 3.
Wow.
And my husband is an essential worker. So I was like, I don't want to expose these families to him, because and he works with international ships and stuff. So I was like, that seems like that's kind of, at the time, it felt irresponsible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We didn't know what we didn't know.
Exactly.
So you're better off being conservative about it.
Absolutely. And my kids were all doing pre-K on Zoom, which was like...
That was a weird time. COVID was such a weird
It was a total weird time. But here we go again with like another major global event. And Kate is changing life again.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, here we go. And mind you, so we kind of took that year, and when I grew up doing the confections with my mom and stuff, the one thing that I was in charge of since I was 8 years old was when I made my first batch of toffee for my mom, which is crazy because it's super hot, and she put me on a wooden stool in front of the stove. So I always have to be careful, because I'm like, child labor laws don't exist when it's a family business.
Yeah, OSHA wasn't really a thing back then. So
no, not at all. I mean, she just popped me on there with a wooden spoon, just stirring this stuff at, 300 degrees. I'm like, what?
Dang.
What thinking? And clearly I was the eldest daughter syndrome, right? Super responsible and capable. So clearly she felt safe doing that. But it's to this day, the only thing I make better than my mom. And so, every Thanksgiving right after is when toffee season would start, and everybody would be like, did you make any yet? Did you make any yet? And somehow people would start swinging by the house and finding reasons and stealing bags and hiding it from other people in their family.
Yeah, this is where the crack comes in.
Yeah,
this is where the crack.
I've had to hide it in this house for sure.
No, I call it toffee infidelity, because people hide from themselves and then they find out, and it kind of creates a drama.
Yes.
So, at the end of 2020, I was like, you know what? we may not have school. I may not have daycare. We lost all these family gatherings. I was like, well, I sure as heck am not canceling Toffee season. So I made everything and I mailed it to everybody because we didn't get together that year. And the phone calls and text messages that I received after they received their package was told me that, okay, this is something more than candy at Christmas. This is a taste of tradition. This is comfort when we needed it the most. And I was like, you know what, maybe, and everybody told me, you got to sell it. And I was still kind of like rebellious. I was like, I'll see, I'll give it a try. So I made a Facebook page for Valentine's Day of 2021. And I was like, let's see if any of you guys actually pay for this, right? And not
Early
only
adopting social media to grow your small business. Like you didn't even know what you were stepping into, and now everybody does it.
Oh, absolutely. I had no idea. And I'm not like a social media gal. Like I wish I could be, but I guess I'm just more introverted than that. Like I haven't really, and to this day, I still need to work on it. It's an area of opportunity for growth. That's for sure. But I put it out there to see if anybody would actually buy it. And to my surprise, not only did they buy it, but they shared it, went viral. And I had 131 orders for Valentine's Day.
Whoa.
You
Yeah.
probably weren't expecting that.
I was not expecting it. And I was kind of like, what is going on? I was like, okay. And then I made, the Facebook page, and then it went viral on Nextdoor in our neighborhood.
Oh dear.
So for Easter of 2021, I was like, okay, I think I'm onto something. And I didn't know, e-commerce or anything like that. So I was like, should I do an Etsy page or whatever? But then I found Shopify and I set up a website, and it's just been
the rest is history. Nothing makes me happier when I walk into somewhere and I see a bag I see the bow and I'm like, she's been here, right? And I think for so many, entrepreneurs that have a product that are out there, like trying to get their stuff on the shelves. I mean, did you go door to door to get to all these places?
Absolutely. I am perhaps one of the craziest, most stubborn hustlers you're ever going to meet.
But you define yourself as an introvert, which is so funny.
I was just gonna say that.
You would think that you'd be like, no, I'm not doing that.
This is not the action of an introvert. It is, however, an action of an 8-year-old who was kind of forced into the family business and was dusting truffles and making 300-degree candy with a wooden spoon and a stool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. So I guess I am an introvert on the inside, but I think when you put on like a cape, you get to be somebody else. And I feel like, and I go by Katie, right, is my name, but Katie's Toffee sounded kind of funny. So I named it Kate's Toffee. And I feel like it's another persona that I get to be, if that makes sense. And so I go in there and, I really believe in manifesting and putting out into the universe what you want to happen and try to spread good and smiles wherever you go. And the rest takes care of itself. So the first place that I went to was Silberman's Ice Cream in San Rafael. And I went there because I took the kids out for ice cream and we were eating it. And I was like, you know what? The toffee crumbles would be really good on this. I bet you I could sell him my scraps for toppings. And so I went in there, and Curtis Silberman is a pivotal moment. He was like, well, do you want me to just sell the bags on the counter? And I was like, that is a great idea. Would you like to do that? And he did. And after that, I was like, oh, because at that point I was just selling through my website. And my goal at the time, a 1 pound was $35. And that's how much my son's piano lesson was every week. And so my goal was to sell 1 pound a week through Nextdoor or Shopify just to cover his piano lessons. I was like, oh, that would be a great little side hustle to do, right? Big family, every bit counts. So I was like, that seems great. And then once I realized that he could sell 10 bags for me in a week or so, I was like, oh, okay. So I asked friends and family, I'm like, where do you think a good place to go? And they're like, United Market. So I called United Market, and she meets with people on Tuesday. So we made an appointment and I went in there and she was like, let's do it. And then I just kept doing that to different stores that I admire. So I've only reached out to places that are Marin institutions or places that contribute to our community.
I love it. And how many stores are you in now?
So it's like at 23 right now. Some are seasonal. So like West End Nursery, right? That's like
Mhm.
an absolute tradition for so many people around here. They contribute to the community. She's a boy mom too. Over there, they have 3 boys. Um, so that's like a seasonal store. I'm in Woodlands Markets, United, let's see, Matt and Jeff's, like
Yeah.
all these people. And I am just like, it is such a blessing because everybody, I call them my little ambassadors. Like I've gone in there and all these people are like my friends. So I always say that Curtis and Jeff from Matt and Jeff's are my best friends, and that I'm not their best friend, but they're my best friends, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
and shout out to Silberman's and anyone if you're in Marin and you're looking for some ice cream, Silberman's San Rafael, one of the best places you can get. But also, I love the part about how as a teenager you worked there.
I did not work there actually.
I thought you did.
No, I went there a lot and all my friends worked there.
That's fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
I do get pretty pissed off when I discover that a store has your stuff and then I go in and they tell me they're out, and that's not a good feeling.
That
But tell me,
isn't.
okay, so 1 pound a week was the goal and it was really just to cover piano lessons. That's fun. Uh,
Yeah.
how many pounds a week roughly do you go through now?
So right now, I cook about 4 to 5 days a week. I would say more 4, and I do a minimum of 50 pounds a day.
Wow.
50 pounds a day.
A day.
Dang, girl. Whew.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's a lot of piano lessons right there.
it's a lot. Well, now they have braces. Now they have sports teams. Now they, and they outgrow their cleats every other day. So we've got a lot of stuff to cover.
The older
You
they
do have
get,
a lot of
the
stuff.
more zeros you get to add. So here's a question I love to ask entrepreneurs. Like, being that you've, started this, scaled this, building this, what's been the hardest part about this journey?
There's been, I think, once again, it's kind of this dilemma that I have with um, figuring out how to grow and to scale and to continuously pivot. So I have the most amazing problem, which is I continue to grow. Um, and every time I have it figured out, something happens. And I'm like, okay, well, now we get to pivot again. and so I think just continually growing. And I have really tried very hard. And this is something that goes back to like when I put on my Kate's cape, right? And dive into it, is being comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that is something that every single day when I'm like, oh, nope, don't want to do that. That does like, bah, like, I don't want to have to learn something new. When am I going to know it all? Is something that's challenging. But I find that if I just like take a minute and a deep breath and reach out to people, mentors now, like I said, I've made this amazing community of fellow business owners, reaching out to them and collaborating with them and getting advice and, being humble enough to be like, I don't know what to do. Do you know what I should do? is the hardest part, and balancing that with a very busy family too. And working out of my home, even though I swore,
We're gonna
I
do it.
never do it. Here I am again. So I think just having to continuously pivot, not just with my kids getting older, but with the business, and trying to figure out how to balance the two, because there's a lot of gray area, right? I'm working out of my home. So I try to do everything while they're at school, and then turn on mom mode and do all the practices and then get them to bed and then put back on my Kate's cape and keep doing that. So it's just that's the hardest part for me right now. And now I'm at a point where I've outgrown my home operation. And so I have to figure out how to scale. And that's very scary because there's a lot of risk with that. I had to go get a commercial kitchen and get a warehouse and then
Well, and
realize,
how do you scale and maintain the quality of the product? Because you are the bag that we all buy, and you are the crack. You are the dealer.
You are the
Uh,
dealer
so
and the product.
and yet demand continues to grow. So someone in your position, how do you scale and maintain that quality and that personal touch and that every bow, I don't know how you tie those bows, sister, but every bow is tied so perfectly. Like what kind of challenges are around that?
So that's the problem that I'm having, is that I'm a very owner driven business, right? I am the only
Yeah.
one who makes it. I'm the only one who packages it. And the people that help me are my mother, right? And my cousin, who is my ride or die. She's been with me. She worked in daycare with me for 10 years. And now she helps me with Toffee. It's basically the three of us. And that is not sustainable
No, it is not.
whatsoever. And the reason why my toffee tastes so different is because it really is homemade. And that's why sometimes stores are out, because I don't stock a store to last more than 10 days, right? Because I want
Good.
it to be fresh.
Yeah.
I don't want to deliver 100 bags and have it sit there for 2 months. That's not, especially when my name's on the label, like that's not the experience I want you to have. I want it to taste like it's homemade. Um, and so I'm actively racking my brain on what I'm going to do, because this past Christmas, like I'm barely recovering from that. I've actually like
Yeah,
hurt my
you've got
wrist.
Yeah, I see
an arm
that.
thing going on.
I see that on your wrist
Yeah.
there.
So I can't keep going like this. And how do you maintain that? Because it is a homemade product. So
Yeah.
how do you maintain that quality, that spark, that taste of tradition? Because the other toffees that are in the store that are mass produced, they add in corn syrup, they add in all sorts of stuff to
Pass.
keep,
Yeah, it's not
yeah.
good.
And
It's
it
not
makes it
good.
sticky, it makes it stale. You can taste the difference. And so right now I don't have that problem solved, but I'm working on it and open to suggestions. If anybody listening knows what to do and would like to tell me what to do, that would be super. Um, so we'll get there. I really feel like I said, if I put out the positive vibes and keep doing what I think is right and trying to do the best for my customers and my community, the right thing I'll be led to the right thing naturally. So I'm just trying to put the vibes out there to make it
I
happen.
love like this growth problem though. I mean, it's like
I
Yeah,
it's
It is a
it's
high quality problem,
it's a
but yet still
great
a problem.
problem. And
it's a
risk
wonderful.
and entrepreneurship, it's like those two words, they just go so well together. And risk is such a scary word, right? Because you're just like, I don't know what to do, or I don't know if I should take on a lease, or co-share a kitchen, or all these different things. I actually have a girlfriend who's a caterer and had just was like catering out of her house, and then ended up doing one of those shared kitchen thing, and just now assumed the entire lease for this kitchen. And she's like, who am I? But it's like, she's taken these jumps and done this stuff, and it's panned out, but it's still really scary. And it's a lot, and it's not just you that you've got to focus on. You've got your family and other stuff to think about, and it's just I love this place that you're in, although it doesn't feel great, I'm sure. I love it.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a huge, like I said, I have not gone one day and not realized how lucky I am to have the problems that I have. And then to also continually share the blessings, right? Like I donate to every single school auction that asks me, every single nonprofit. You got it. I'm there. Like that is, I just feel like if I just keep putting that out, it'll keep growing and the right people will fall in my path to help me, if that makes sense. Like
100%.
good
Totally.
attract good. So just,
Our Mother's Day bags last year featured
yes,
your toffee.
yes.
And I can't tell you how many moms reached back out to us and were like, the bag was great. Where'd you get the toffee?
Where can I get more?
And I
Um,
think, to be able to have a smile, I mean, it's not just a sweet treat. It's like, it's so much more. And the story behind it is so much more than, many of them out there. I think it's so great.
It's so much fun and I love it. And the thing I think I love the most is like, okay, the people that I've met doing this, I love it, right? The circles that I'm in now with fellow entrepreneurship, like-minded people is wonderful, right? But I think my favorite thing is when I do events and stuff and people taste it. Every single event, there's somebody who almost gets tears in their eyes and they're like, it tastes just like how my grandmother used to make it. Or, oh
that's
my
the best.
I guess there's a candy, a street candy in India that's very similar to it. I've had several people go, "This is just like this. That it used to be warm on the cart on the street." Like it brings back stuff, and it just brings this feeling that you can't replicate. Like it's just amazing. I'm so glad. I'm glad to hear that feedback too, because that makes me like inspires me to keep going.
I want to talk a little bit about the San Francisco Chocolate Salon
Yes.
you have
Yes.
coming up March 28th. I don't know what the San Francisco Chocolate Salon is, so I'd love to hear about it. But side note, I also think it's extremely fascinating that you literally make toffee crack, but cannot bake a cookie.
Oh, I can't. I'm the worst baker you ever. So, okay. So growing up doing catering, right? I can cook. I'm an excellent cook. I can make anything you want. I can make soups. I can make, any kind of protein, whatever. I can cook for 50 people on 2 hours notice.
Oh,
That doesn't
dang.
scare me. I mess up pre-made cookie dough. Like I try so hard. I do. And I can't do it. It's terrible.
That's all right. You don't need to. Just stick with the toffee,
Stick with the
sister. But tell
toffee.
us about this chocolate salon. What is that?
Okay, so the chocolate salon, and this is once again, I've grown my circle to I had a customer at a charity event who was like, "Have you heard of chocolate salon?" I was like, "What in the world is that?" She goes, "You need to look it up." So basically, it is a company, and they have San Francisco, Seattle, Pasadena, and Toronto, and they assemble small artisan chocolate and confection businesses. So I believe I'm the only cottage permit, but everybody else is small, like one location, maybe two locations. They're all local, and you get together. I think you have to buy a ticket for it, but you go in and you get a chance to sample, and there's usually anywhere from 25 to 40 different booths of
Wow.
businesses like mine. And you get to go and try their chocolates, and then you can purchase, of course, there. So you get this amazing crowd. There's usually anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 people, I want to say, to each
Oh,
event.
that's really
Dang.
cool.
Yeah, and they are there to taste and to shop. It is my crowd.
Yeah.
There you go.
Get a chance to sample things, and so there's some really unusual things. There's some pretty traditional things. I'm the only one who only has one product, so I only make one thing. I don't have a variety of toffee. I don't do anything else. Like I said, this is the only thing I make better than my mother. So yeah, it's really fun. And then they also do awards, so they have secret judges, they have panel judges, and it goes around. So proud to say that I won quite a few gold medals through the chocolate salon, including the international gold for top toffee.
I
That's
mean, no
awesome,
big deal.
No
right?
big deal. It was pretty fun. And now I'm like, now I have to take over the galaxy. Like
Yeah, no, this is great. And this is coming up on the 28th of March.
28th in March. It's in San Francisco at the Hall of Flowers. I believe it's 11 to 5. So
Get
I
your
will.
tickets.
Get your tickets, people. We'll post some links.
Yeah.
KatesToffee.com is where you can find our girl Katie, also known as Kate with the cape, and she's making the toffee that is also known as the chocolate crack. And if you haven't tried it, I can't recommend going online, ordering a box, and then you too will be hooked. We
Yeah.
love you to pieces, and we love seeing your red bows out there in the community. We think that what you're doing is incredibly inspiring. Thank you for sharing you with us, and we hope that everybody out there this week and this month and this year are inspired.